We've both been there. Gas wasted, orders missed, money left on the table.
Here's 5.
Here's 5 Uber Eats mistakes every driver should try to avoid. Everybody, Mr. Hustle here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a special guest for you, none other than my Faja.
Peace out.
We got a good video for you today. We're going over the top 5 mistakes to avoid. I got a list. We'll jump right into it. But before we do that, actually, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Mr. Hustle's dad, and I've been doing Uber for almost 8 years now. I started out as an Uber driver, and that was very successful. And then the pandemic hit, and once the pandemic hit, it became not as much fun to drive people around. I'll leave it with that. So I switched over to Uber Eats, and I've been doing Uber Eats for probably 4 years now.
All right. Well, we thank you for joining us here on the channel. We'll get right into the mistakes to avoid because they're waiting for this knowledge.
Okay, hopefully we have some.
All right, so number 1 on our list is knowing when and where to work. So have you ever had any bad shifts where you might have worked in the wrong area or at the wrong time?
Yes, many times. That was one of the things I had to learn. Time is important, but sometimes you're kind of limited to the times you can work, so you have to maximize the time that you are working. And I found there's certain areas that are very good and certain areas that are not very good.
Yeah, I agree. So you're going to want to test out different areas, different times, find what's best for you, where you work. Number 2 on our list is make sure you're being patient for good orders. So don't rush into an order. That's a mistake a lot of drivers make, especially when first starting off. Did you ever maybe rush into an order you probably shouldn't have taken?
Way too many times.
Yeah.
The thing is, as you're sitting there, and you might be sitting there for a couple minutes, and you're like, oh man, whoa, and something pops up, you just grab it. Well, what I've learned is you have to analyze it, okay? They're going to pay me $7 to go 10 miles. Now, is that really profitable? Because you may have to come back to the area. You may have to do this. So once I get an offer, I've learned to look at it. And my baseline is I need $1 a mile, and I want to stay in my area. And as long as you have a baseline before you hit accept, I think it'll save you the mistake of not being patient, just grabbing the first thing that pops.
Yeah, definitely be patient when you can. You're going to want to get $1 per mile. You're also going to want to look at where the drop-off is. You don't want to drop off to the middle of nowhere because then you're going to have to drive for your next order. So always consider that. What would be a good order for you? Would it be low mileage? Would it be high pay? Would it be going to a certain area? Would it be...
I like low mileage in my area.
Yeah.
I'm more inclined to take an order that, might be $7 or, something like that, but it's only 2 miles away and I'm not leaving my prime area that I like to work in. If you give me an order that's a lot of money, but I'm heading out to an area that's, that I'm probably going to have to return to because there's probably not much out there, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so moving on to number 3. This one's very important. Knowing how to request compensation properly for stolen orders or orders with issues. Very commonly, Uber Eats drivers will arrive at the restaurant only to be told the order has already been picked up. So what do you do in this situation?
Well, I first of all hit order already picked up, but you then must have to contact support. And when you contact support, it's asked to speak to a human. I don't know what exact terminology they use because they're going to want you to go in a chat, and talk to a chat box and everything.
Normally I'll say representative.
Yeah. So
or
that
agent, talk to agent or talk to representative.
Exactly.
Even if you're text chatting with a bot, you could still type talk to agent, and that's a keyword they pick up on.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times I'll just hit the call. So I'll hit call and then I'll wait and I'll get somebody. And usually the first person you talk to will listen to it, sound like they're very sympathetic to your cause, but say, sorry, there's nothing I can do. Which, and I'm very polite and I say, listen, I understand. I said, but I need to talk to your supervisor. There's nothing you've done wrong. You've been very polite, but please let me speak to your supervisor.
Yeah, that's the key point there. because the supervisors could pay you, but the regular agents could not. That's why you have to ask for a supervisor. It is worth it to give it a try at the least. What do you got to lose? The other alternative is getting paid $0.
And one thing I like to add is I always like to say I would like to be compensated for my time and my gas. And, I narrow it down to a very precise what I'm looking for. I'm not asking for an amount, but time and gas. And at that point in time, it's a fair request.
Yeah, make sure you say you'd like to be compensated for this order due to issues out of your control. That's a good way to say it. Um, like I said, I've been compensated pretty much every time I've gone through the trouble of asking. So we'll keep it moving on to number 4. Number 4 is not tracking your mileage for taxes. This is very important. I'll let you elaborate on it.
I think easiest way to file, unless you have a real lot of money, is you just file basically X amount of miles times whatever they're paying, 57 cents.
The mileage deduction.
Yeah, the mileage deduction, whatever. And it goes up every year. So it's very important to track your miles, whether you do it digitally or I actually do it manually. So if I'm ever audited, I got a book for 8 years worth of every delivery I've ever made. So I'm totally protected. But it works out very well when it comes to tax time.
Yeah, that's great advice. I haven't had to pay much taxes using this method. Could save you a bunch of money. So our last point, maybe the most important, is don't take orders out of fear. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I think that the way they want to try to manipulate you and keep control, if that's the correct word, is, I recently made it to platinum. So, I got up to like 55%. And then I noticed they started giving me some really, really bad orders. So now am I going to take these orders so I can stay at a platinum status, even though they're not beneficial mile-wise, dollar-wise, area-wise? So I had to make the decision that I'm not afraid to lose the platinum status because I'm still going to get orders. So, they would hope that I'd want to be platinum, and now the next thing is diamond. Okay, now we can get them the diamond and make me make decisions that were not part of our 5 things to watch out for. So, and that is the fear of losing something you have. That how important is it really?
Yeah, it's just a status on a platform, and we don't even really know how much it really helps or how much we're being hindered going for it. It does seem like you did receive better orders yesterday when you did have that platinum status, as opposed to today when your acceptance rate fell below 50%. So it does seem like there's a slight benefit at the least.
I think the benefit is you get better tippers. Once you get, as the levels you go up, you get, you're probably going to get better reviews. You're going to get everything like that because it's the preferred customers. You're kind of moving up the line. But what I also noticed was, I get an order $25 to go 15 miles, say, right? I'm like, wow, that looks great. Well, then all of a sudden I look at it, Uber paid me $2 and the customer tipped me 23. So to me, that is just taking advantage of me. So, it was good, but then once I caught on to that, I said, well, platinum isn't really all it's cracked up to be. Sure, you get some benefits here and there, but so then I went back to my basic 5 rules of time, mileage, and area. And all of a sudden I'm not platinum anymore because I went back to my basic principles of how to be successful in this business and didn't let the mystique of being platinum scare me into taking bad orders. So it's just something you really want to be aware of and realize what's most important. And I think the tips we've given you today are way more important than your status.
Yeah, don't be afraid to try to be more selective with the orders you accept. Don't be afraid to lose your platinum or diamond status and try to go without it. You may be surprised. Personally, I make more money without it, but I do multi-app. It's going to be in relation to the area you work in. So you really got to test things out and see what's best for your area. All right, so that is the top 5 mistakes to avoid. That last one was don't take orders out of fear. So we do have one extra topic we want to cover in regards to fear. If you'd like to.
Yeah, when I'm not being an Uber driver, I am a poet and a musician. So I delve into concepts, and fear through my whole long life, I've realized, is the biggest set of handcuffs that you can throw on a human being. Because once you can get them to have fear, all of a sudden their confidence is lessened, I guess is the best way to say it. So I've learned that confidence and knowledge, you have to have knowledge. And if you have knowledge and you're confident, nothing can stop you. So I wrote a poem called Fear is an Anchor, and I'd like to share that with you if that's okay with Mr. Hustle.
Yeah, that's great. We'll get you set up over here on the professional mic so they can hear it clearly. All right, so we'll get you set up now. Just give us 1 second.
All right, now I get to sit in the big chair here. And hopefully I sound a little bit better. I want to once again thank Mr. Hustle for the opportunity. I wrote this in March of 2020 during the pandemic. I wrote a lot of stuff during that point in time, but it's just kind of the experience motivated me. So here's how it goes. Fear is an Anchor is the name of it. Sitting in my room, playing with my phone, asking AI questions so I don't feel alone. Facebook is my channel, loaded with fake news. Facts aren't essential in creating our views. Maybe I should look out the window to the vastness of the sky, free my spirit from my body, the hysteria and the lies. My soul wants to soar, leave my body behind. Universal harmony is what I'm trying to find. But fear is the barrier, the anchor for most. But your heart will set you free because fear is really just a ghost. So don't let that anchor and that ghost slow you down. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Hustle. Like, comment, subscribe.
See you in the next one.
And we'll see you in the next one. Once again, Mr. Hustle, thank you. Like, comment, subscribe. All right, cool. Peace out. Peace out. Peace out.